How's it going? It's Roz, and today I've got something that I tried to do in VR, and it just didn't end up happening. I really tried. It just didn't work. So here I am on my computer. I hope you enjoy. And here's viewer takeover. Enjoy.
This is Viewer Takeover. We film every Monday night and then we bring it to YouTube every Tuesday. I say every, but it wasn't last week, and probably many, many other exceptions in our lives. My name's Brian.
Advertising.
Paul from this channel right here, PSVR without parole. And the guys to my right, the boys. Dave from Dave Station VR.
Give me that rev. I love that rev. Everybody get out there and fucking vote. That's what I'm talking about. Today's the day, guys.
Everybody get out there and fuck and vote.
No, fucking vote. Well, you can fuck and vote both on the same day if you want to. Great day for that.
But you can only do one of those things multiple times
Nothing's
today.
going to turn your girlfriend on more than this voting sticker. She's going to be like, oh my God.
Right.
And that guy on the right-hand side of the screen is AJ from
The Underground. PSVR. Underground.
What's up, man? You sounded like Batman. Like, you're like, the underground.
As long as
Where's
it's not
Rachel?
Bane.
You adapted the Underground. I was born in it.
As long as it's not Bane. And every week on Viewer Takeover, we like to thank a whole lot of people. The first person we want to thank is Roz Ace for that awesome Viewer Takeover introduction. Wasn't that awesome Viewer Takeover introduction?
Yeah, really cool that he recreated the song like that. Sounded great.
Yeah, Rose Ace,
cool stuff.
our game cat from down under, who usually goes by
Rosacci.
Rosacci, as we like to call him. That was really good, actually. That was cool.
I've had a feeling he hates that. Yeah.
Seemed like it took a while to make that in Minecraft. But
Oh,
good
yeah,
stuff,
I'm
man.
sure.
Yeah, and apologies to anybody who sent in Viewer Takeover introductions before Spooky Month. I was trying to get as many spooky introductions during October as possible. And so now we're back, and I think, Roz sent this to us like 2 months ago, I think. So we're finally getting around to it. Thank you so much. If you've got an awesome Viewer Takeover introduction that you'd like to send to us for maybe next week's show, but possibly 2 or 3 weeks from now, send it to withoutparole@gmail.com. We also want to thank these people down here. These people have been with patreon.com/withoutparole. And they're the ones giving us $1 or more every month because they love us almost as much as we love them. Please consider helping out the channel if you're interested. $1 a month hopefully means nothing to you, but it means a whole lot to us. AJ, who else do we want to thank before we get the show really started?
We would like to thank those who support us in the other way by changing their name to something GameCat, something GameCat related, something GameCat adjacent as you, and something GameCat adjacent, and something and Cooter Critters, the adjacent GameCat, would like to say. And this week we have 2 new GameCats to welcome to the GameCat Dojo. Starting with IC, #GameCat people.
Hell yeah, I see GameCat people too. They're the
In
coolest.
the end, it turns out he was a game cat all along.
All along.
Oh,
He was a game
twist
cat
that
all the time.
I see what you did there.
That's right.
We've also got Same Fat GameCat.
Same fat game cat.
This is an interesting one, right? Because about 4 months ago, we had somebody change their name to Some with an O, Fat with an F GameCat. And I think I've seen Same Fat GameCat very frequently over the last week or so, thinking it was Some Fat GameCat. I just wasn't paying attention. And so we didn't actually give him a shout out on last week's show. I missed him altogether. So this is your shout out, my friend. Same
This is a different.
Fat
They're not the
Can we
name.
confirm that same fat game cat is the same game cat as Some Fat Game Cat?
All I'll
I
tell
feel
you
like
is that there are
it's
2
gotta be.
different YouTube accounts. I checked today.
Okay.
And that's all I've got for you. Maybe he can tell us in
That
the
is
comments
interesting.
below. But what we really do here on Viewer Takeover is we check our Discord, which you should already be a part of. Click that link in the description to join it, and we look for Viewer Takeover questions. We also check the viewer. We also check. What are we checking? We also check our YouTube videos for the #Viewer Takeover, all one word. You can leave comments there as well. We find them, we create a list of them, we read them. We try not to make fun of you too much, but we really enjoy having you part of the show. First question comes to us from Death Venus Blue on Discord. Writes, #Viewer Takeover, like a pro. Do you feel somewhat misled by Sony? It seems like they have either been very sloppy with their communication or very calculated and purposefully using vague terminology to give us false hope regarding VR. then giving us limited info until it's financially convenient for them. And they've already sold almost all their pre-orders. Wow. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, so here's what I think. Regardless of anything PSVR related, they would have sold those pre-orders out anyways. So I don't think that that really factors into it as much. I don't think that they were like lying to us to make sure they sold units. We're such a small drop in the bucket of the overall units they want to sell. You know, the hardcore VR audience who are gonna want to buy a PS5 day one. So I don't think that they were thinking about that when they decided on their approach. I just think that the approach they decided on obviously isn't that satisfying to people. So I don't know about misleading exactly, but just like they didn't give us as much information along the way as we should have had when we should have had it.
I agree. They've definitely taken a different approach with the PS5 launch, and yeah, I think they're even back a couple months ago when Microsoft first showed their CGI thing. There was people like, well, Microsoft's shown gameplay footage and stuff. I'm going to Xbox, and it's funny to see the reactions from a lot of people. But I'm a people person. I agree for the most part that like we like transparency and we like to be informed as much as possible as the products that we're purchasing. That being said, I think they've chosen this strategy and they're just sticking to it of, we'll announce something when we're ready. And that's kind of just what they're sticking to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that they've misled anybody. I think that there's been a lack of communication for sure. So I'm going to go that route as far as Death Venus Blues questions concerned. There's been a lack of communication. So that led all of us, like here Without Parole and every other news outlet, every other video game site out there, has all been saying very speculatively, saying, I wonder what PlayStation 5 is going to do for current gen PSVR. And then say, well, oh, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. What are we going to do? I don't know. And I think when it comes down to it, Sony has been pretty good about PlayStation VR1 and PlayStation 5. They could have literally said, oh, you know what? It's not compatible. So you got to keep your old console. You can't sell your old console. Just keep playing on that and then buy your PlayStation 5. But then they're like, you know what? Guys, we want you to keep playing your PlayStation VR1. There's so many games still on the way for PlayStation VR1 that we want you to carry this thing over onto the new console until PlayStation VR2 is ready. So here is a free adapter to make that happen. We're going to send it out to everyone who fills out this form. Now, let's not even get into that. But eventually we're all able to fill out the form and get our free adapter. So I think they're being good about it so far, to be honest with you.
What I have learned is that we just have to wait until they give us the official word. As much as I'd like to say they're going to do this, they're going to do that. The truth is, like, we can have fun, we can speculate and stuff. But until they say something themselves or confirm it themselves from them, you kind of just got to take everything else with a grain of salt. Everything else is pretty much just speculation.
The one interesting thing, though, is lately, the past week or so, I feel like devs are starting to loosen their lips a little bit about this when Sony hasn't really. So like the Upload VR articles we've seen that kind of spawn some of these questions, there's not much comment from Sony reps. There's comments from Hello Games or from the guys behind Hitman, IO Interactive, but you don't see much official Sony stuff in there. But previously, devs had to be really tight-lipped, I think, because nobody said anything about it. So maybe they're loosening that restriction a little bit. Maybe devs can talk a little bit more about what it looks like, but I think we already know what it looks like at this point.
I think devs really have to choose their wording wisely. From everything that I've heard, the developers are still under heavy NDAs. And they and also that some of the stuff from Upload was actually from a rep. The problem is you don't always get accurate info from these people unless, like I said, unless they go big with the announcement or do a PlayStation blog. If you call up Sony customer service and somebody working there is like, yeah, PSVR 2 is coming, you still can't trust that source. It has to be an official, announcement.
Since this is our lead question, I do want to take it a step further and ask you guys a question. With everybody up in arms and everybody getting kind of irritated with the way that Sony is approaching this, let me ask you this. Let's backtrack 4 months, right? When like the PlayStation 5 info started coming out a little bit more frequently. And if Sony had said then, listen guys, here's how PlayStation VR 1 is going to work on your PlayStation 5. We're going to let you fill out a little form, and you can get an adapter for free in the mail, and you're going to be able to have backwards compatibility for PlayStation 1 VR on your PlayStation 5 at launch. But then we're going to release PlayStation VR 2 holiday 2021. Do you think that information, just putting it out there and saying everyone has a very clear understanding of how much longer they have to wait for PlayStation VR 2, how PlayStation VR 1 is going to work on PlayStation 5, do you think just getting that information out into consumers' heads would eliminate all of this? So everyone's on the same page, no one's, crying foul. Do you think that would have worked messaging wise?
So yeah, I actually do think this would have helped a lot. Consumers would have had the information to decide, like, oh, I'm going to wait for a PS5. And, around this time of year, that money is kind of important. Maybe you got to buy gifts for your family and stuff. And like making those hard decisions to put $500 down on a PS5 without knowing what you're actually getting out of it is risky. And I think people will feel screwed over having learned the info later. But I think the thing, especially with the adapters, is like if they had told us months and months and months ago, hey, here's this 6-month window where you can submit your request for these things, and we're guaranteeing they'll show up by launch day. Like, this seems very last minute the way they did it. It's just like, this thing exists. There's a broken website you can ask for it on, and it's shipping soon-ish. But it's like the console's going to be here way before that. So I don't think that they handled that very well.
I think, like I said, transparency is always better for the consumer. But if they're basically knowingly losing a lot of sales that way. From the way that I look at that, I don't think that's a smart decision on their part. It's like how you can kind of compare it to them still having Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us 2. If they got everybody and pre-orders and everything ready on at that time before those came out, then I think a lot of people would say, well, I'm not going to buy this at launch. I'm going to wait for the PS5 version, and could potentially miss out on a lot of sales there. So I think they're kind of like letting it run its course first. And they want to sell, they probably have some PSVR bundles and stuff and deals during Black Friday. They probably want to try and sell those first. And then right after the holidays sale on Black Friday and stuff, then I think they're in the clear to start gearing up to announce the next product or whatever's next coming down the line.
And that's a good point we haven't talked much about. The idea that they're holding off PSVR 2 info because they want to sell through the remaining PSVRs that they've bundled up already. Because if you say, hey, next year we're going to have this brand new cool thing on PS5, people will say, oh, I can wait. I don't need it now.
Right.
And so, yeah, exactly like you said, people wouldn't buy the thing. So,
right on. All right, guys, let's move on to our next question. AJ, you got this one?
I got this one. All right. I'm going to take a deep breath. Baggio_10_ writes on viewer takeover. He says, hashtag viewer takeover like a pro, and says, in response to the statement from Jim Ryan, I am a gamer in my late 40s who loves PSVR and now only plays games in VR. I currently own a PS4 OG and have a PS5 on pre-order in the hope that it would upscale the graphics of my current PSVR games and to make them clear / more defined. This is the only reason why I want a PS5 at this moment in time. In your opinion, is it worth me spending the £450 on a PS5 for this reason alone? By the way, the drama from some people regarding this statement is overblown, I think. What Sony are doing is very sensible in that all focus should be on the PS5 at this moment in time, establish the user base, and then release the PSVR 2 in 2+ years. Following the pattern of PS4 / PSVR, this is a long PSVR. This is a long post, so feel free to edit it if it is needed or if you choose it for your own stream. Well, I guess clearly Brian didn't feel like editing it.
I copy and paste, and then I roll with the punches.
I told you to edit it.
I didn't read it until I saw it. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I only read the first half of this. I'm sorry.
Brian does not take instructions from anyone.
Let's roll back. The operative question here, I think, is, in your opinion, is it worth me spending £450 on a PS5 for this reason alone? That reason being PSVR 1. So
He has an OG. I say absolutely yes. That's like upgrading to a pro with even better than a pro,
It's
and you have
future-proof.
future proof.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess you're future proofing it. Yeah,
absolute
I mean,
2 thumbs up if you're on an OG. Yes.
yeah, but I will say, like, he has a PS5 on pre-order in the hope that it would upscale the graphics of his current PSVR game set to make them clearer / more defined. Now, the pro
sirens on my end.
element of it, I guess, will do that for him, but not any better than a pro would. But if we're thinking, hey, PSVR is coming in a little bit, you might as well spend the money on the one you're going to end up having than get an interstitial one and then be like, oh, a year from now, I got to buy a PS5 to replace this pro. So, I mean, I guess, yeah, if you've already got it pre-ordered too, like, yeah, why not? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, and pros are still expensive, right? So I know that some people are thinking like, oh, I'm just going to grab a pro right now. It's like, if you already have a pro, well, then maybe you can hold off on buying a PlayStation 5, but don't buy a pro because the PlayStation 5 isn't giving you what you want. Like, like the PlayStation
well, and you're still going
5
to get the loading time improvements too on the 5. So that is a clear benefit that you get any game everywhere, VR included.
The other thing that you'll get from as a benefit will be the game boost, which they've posted on the official PlayStation 5 PlayStation website, and it says enjoy faster and smoother frame rates in select PS4 and PSVR titles.
Yeah, and so what we know about this so far is from this article I read on Push Square from this guy Sammy Barker, who's really good about VR stuff over there, and he said basically this is in the case of a game where like it's not hitting its theoretical maximum frame rate if it's programmed that way. So like No Man's Sky, you guys know, drops sometimes if you're in a place with a lot going on. It's more about ensuring games hit their theoretical maximum. So I don't think that we're going to see a lot of games that say like, hey, now that it's on PS5, it's just 120 frames per second all of a sudden now. And same with resolution. It's really about how the game's programmed. So they'll have to go back and change it to take advantage of that stuff if they aren't programmed the way that they need to be. So.
And can we be clear about something here? The only thing Sony has said on this topic is, quote, we have not announced any PlayStation 5 VR games, end quote. They have not said that like no PlayStation 5 games will get a patch or no PSVR1 games will get a patch on PlayStation 5.
Right.
They've never said that.
We're assuming we're just using the info that we have, which is right now all we know is that they are backwards compatible and that they might have this boost mode, maybe faster loading screens. And yes, you're right. That doesn't mean that means that there isn't any extra support so far, and it also doesn't mean that it's only that's what it is for the rest of time.
Right.
And
as well.
The one thing to keep an eye on too is like, so we talk about, is this game going to get like a PS5 patch on, even though it's a PS4 game in VR or whatever. I think what we'll see is maybe some developers going back in and maybe unlocking the resolution, unlocking the frame rate to take advantage of stuff that's on PS5, as long as it doesn't mess with the existing PS4 support, instead of like a PS5 patch, just like making the game easier to be boosted by Game Boost. So it's designed that way. So
I bet you there's workarounds for sure.
Yeah,
hopefully. We'll see.
There's been a lot of negativity recently, and I think we have to focus on like, man, there's still a whole lot of potential for the current headset on PlayStation 5. Just because no one's saying anything, I mean, Sony hasn't said anything, so literally anything is still possible.
The last question we've got here today comes to us from a 12-toed game dog, longtime viewer. He left this on Viewer Takeover. He says, #Viewer Takeover. With the uproar over the possibility of a much longer gap between now and PSVR 2, how will we handle the info if PSVR 2 isn't backwards compatible with our current game library? And is there any chance Sony has the foresight to at least include the capability to use both sets at the same time? That's a different question. But I don't know. What do you guys think on this one? Do you think that we'll end up in a situation where PSVR 2 isn't backwards compatible with what we got now?
I mean, we already have a way to play all of our PlayStation VR1 games on PlayStation 5. It's with our current headset, like it's programmed for Move controllers, it's programmed for aim controllers, it's programmed for DualShock 4, and as long as you keep all those things, then backwards compatibility is already existent, But I know what he's saying. I know he's saying the new headset and the new controllers, but that's different technology, man. Like if you're using inside-out tracking, there's got to be a developer that's got to go back into their game and reprogram all of that tracking, right? So,
Unless
That's the
somebody has
problem.
like a magic solution for them that's like, hey
Right.
guys, this is how we match your existing camera to the new camera, and we can just plug this in your game and it works. Like, hopefully they come up with something to make it easier for developers to do that. Because if everybody has to do this on their own, I don't know how many we're going to see that end up being backwards compatible like that.
I could see, if anything, I would see it being up to the developers. I don't think, unless they have some kind of just magical solution, which I don't think they would, it would require the developers to go back in and make some of these changes with the code and the programming. And I think that's just going to be up to the ones that are still around, the ones that were successful enough to stick around and update their games, or the teams that are still together, things like that. But
I think there'll be some clear, obvious ones, like, when, say, PSVR2, PS5 is all lined up, Beat Saber will have a version that works on that setup. I guarantee you. I don't know if you'll have to purchase it separately or if you'll just get a free upgrade, but they will have a version that works with that. These big games almost inevitably will support that day one, whether or not it's like the PS5 version of the game or the PS4 version of the game. That's
only
kind of where
the
you get the
chosen
tricky
ones will
spots
move
there.
forward.
Like,
here's how I see it happening. There's going to be a lot of PSVR1 games that just get lost and fall behind. The developers are no longer with us.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know if they died or if they just don't make games anymore or they didn't sell enough. I don't know. Maybe they're all on the flat screen heaven. But
Did you pour one out for him, AJ? Is that what you were doing?
But here's what I think. I think the developers that are still with us, they're just going to create PlayStation 5 versions of their game. Take advantage of the PlayStation 5, take advantage of this new tracking method, take advantage of new resolution or the most upscaled resolution, whatever the deal is, right? Take your existing game and port it over, man. That's called free money right there. Take you a month or so to port it over, and then post it on the PlayStation 5 PSVR 2 page. The biggest term, like one of the most used terms this generation, and especially with Quest and Quest 2, is cross-buy, right?
Yeah.
So PlayStation will see that you already own the game and give you the free upgrade for the PlayStation 5, PlayStation VR 2 version of this game, and that's your backwards compatibility. I really don't see it just happening naturally in any sense.
Yeah, and I would expect to also see like ultimate editions, complete editions, something where they come out with a new version that's like got a little bit of extra content to make you think, okay, well, even if I played this before, super hot or something like that, they could add a few more endless levels or a new mode or something pretty easy to make it like a new package that sells a little better to people than just the same old thing.
I'd have to assume it's similar to whatever you see some of the current developers doing with the flat PS4 games to PS5 games.
Yeah, for sure. Again, cross-buy, man. You buy it for PlayStation 4, you got it for PlayStation 5 with all the upgrades. I don't see this happening any differently.
The only problem is physical games, because we've got confirmation already with Hitman that if you buy the PS5 physical disc of Hitman, you don't get the PS4 version with VR. You have to buy it digitally if you want to. And that's kind of a tricky, as people remain collectors, this generation, it's going to get tricky. Do I want to buy this on a disc and risk, not getting the version of it to play in VR? Do you buy it twice on disc? Like, what's the thing there for a collector? I feel like it kind of sucks. You got to go digital only this way that they've set it up. So.
Yeah, there's no way to include any kind of key in every single box. That's actually different, right? So and that makes it a little bit.
I mean, they actually have done that with like pre-orders and stuff. I've seen like they slip in a little code on the disc, or like there's a piece of
on
paper
the receipt or something, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So I mean, there's possibilities here. We just have to see how it all plays out. I would be shocked if Sony didn't have a plan for all of this.
Yeah, me too. Actually, I really hope they do have a plan for this, and we just don't know about it.
So I guess we'll see, man. But the future is super exciting, and it's almost here, man. What is it? 9 more days until.
Yeah.
9 days, man. I cannot wait. I'm so stoked.
So excited.
I'm gonna just tear into every game I possibly can. I'm actually to be honest with you, I might kick things off with just Astro's Playroom and just get a sense for the dual sense. I want to get a taste of that, the next gen, what PlayStation has to offer. And then just as soon as I can, depending or not if I have the adapter or not yet, then then yeah, as soon as I can, I'm going to start tearing into the VR backwards compatibility stuff.
Yeah, they better send me that adapter soon, because until I get it, I'm just going to be playing Bug Snacks on PS5, which is I'm excited about, but that's all I can do.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Viewer Takeover. Remember, if you haven't, if you don't like the questions that were asked today, remember the only person who's at fault there. Well, it's really me. Let's be honest. I picked the questions, but the other people who are at fault are you. You got to ask the questions that you want on the show, man. Hashtag Viewer Takeover in the comments below, all one word, or join our Discord, which you should be doing anyway. Go to the Viewer Takeover channel and leave your Viewer Takeover question there. Also, change your name to GameCat. That wasn't a request. That was a demand. Change your name to GameCat. Leave the comment, hashtag GameCat in the comments below so I can come and find you and give you a shout out on next week's show. Also, think about supporting us on Patreon for just $1 or more every single month. Patreon.com/withoutparole. And also send your Viewer Takeover introductions to withoutparole@gmail.com. Thank you, Dave. Subscribe to Dave at Dave Station VR. Thank you, AJ. Subscribe to AJ at The Underground, PSVR Underground. My name is Brian Paul from Without Parole. This was Viewer Takeover, and we're out. I gotta show you this. This is absolutely ridiculous.
What's going on? Are we filming the outro right now?
Yes. So
whoa, big box.
So I got this huge box right from Amazon today. I mean, when I say it's huge, it's
Looks pretty big. You're a big dude, so
big dude.
You ordered like one thing of like Advil, and it came in that, right? Like
It's almost as comical. 2 boxes of mac and cheese. I kid you not. I was like, I picked it up and I was like, this is really light. What did I order that's this light and this big? As it turns out, nothing. 2 boxes of mac and cheese
in that
with
box?
a ton of that. Yes, with a ton of bubble wrap. I mean, the bubble wrap costs more than the mac and cheese. You should have seen.
Probably so. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Jeez.